Did you know that it takes an average of 23 minutes to return to a flow state after you check your phone? Just having your phone in sight of focused work lowers your cognitive capacity. Did you know that the worst time to check your phone is actually the minute that you wake up? That's right. When you open your phone after waking, you're hitting your brain with dopamine spikes and cortisol surges before it even has the chance to regulate. And this sets the tone for the rest of your day. More anxiety, more distracted, less focus, and worse mood stability. But why does this happen? Because your brain is still in this alpha state. It's ideal for creativity, stillness, nervous system balance, but flooding it with emails, texts, TikTok, it's like waking up and running a sprint and you ain't even warmed up yet. So instead, give yourself 30 to 60 minutes phone-free after waking. It is one of the most powerful ways to protect your nervous system, and no one is talking about it. Thank you for joining this episode of Heal Thyself. To support the show, please rate, review, and subscribe. It gives us the opportunity to really expand this knowledge to people who need it most, and you can do your part by just sharing the love. Again, thank you for listening. I'm forever grateful, and I love you all. Let's get started. All right, welcome to Heal Thyself. Today, we are talking about the best and worst times to use your phone according to science. It's evidence-based, right? We got to talk about it. Thank you for joining the show and taking the time out of your day. I really appreciate it. Let me tell you something. We are in the middle of a cultural uprising. People are realizing that the phones right here next to me, their phones are making them anxious, distracted, unfulfilled, and they're fighting back. You look at these screen apps, there's lock screen apps, lock screen devices, digital detox retreats. There's even safes for phones. And this isn't just about a productivity movement. Not anymore. It's about this mindfulness movement, this nervous system movement, the stillness one. But I'm going to tell you what no one's talking about. It's not about how much you're on your phone. It's about when. Because your body has internal rhythms. If you listened last week, we talked about nutrition and your internal rhythms. And certain times of day are actually biologically wired for focus, creativity, and calm. And other times of day, well, they're primed for the distraction, the reward, the recovery. But if you understand that there are windows, you can actually decide to use your phone in an intentional way that is going to actually align with your physiology. So you're feeling the effects of being on your phone less. This is the phone hack right here. This episode is going to be your blueprint. So your phone is a nervous system trigger. We're going to zoom out. Why are we having this conversation? Because your phone is not neutral. It's stimulating, right? And it stimulates you and it floods your brain with dopamine. It triggers that sympathetic nervous system response, and it really just like shatters your ability to be present. And studies show that phone use actually elevates your primary stress hormone. Which one is that? Cortisol. It disrupts your attention, your memory consolidation. It's actually linked to anxiety, depression, emotional dysregulation. And most people are using their phones at the worst possible times. And we're going to go over these 3 worst times, okay? Number 1 worst time to use your phone is within the first hour after waking. Your brain has just spent the night cleansing itself, syncing its memories, preparing for that clarity. And what do? We roll over, we let out a grunt, we moan, we grab our phones, we scroll through the messages, the news alerts, ding, ding, ding. Why is it bad? Well, your brain is in this alpha and theta state. It's primed for creativity, for calmness, right? That you take advantage of this time. But flooding it with this stimulation immediately spikes your cortisol and dopamine too fast. You short circuit your circadian rhythm and that frontal lobe regulation, right? Decisions. So a 2022 study showed that actually early morning screen exposure is linked to higher anxiety, lower cognitive performance later in the day. And another study found that checking your phone within an hour of waking leads to more rumination and emotional reactivity. So what's the bottom line? Delay phone use for 30 to 60 minutes after waking. Easy, right? Use that time to get out in the sun, hydrate, breathe, journal, meditate, stillness, intention, get ready for your day. The other time is 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. For most people in this world, their circadian chronotype is going to be right here where they're going to be in this deep work window. Biologically, this is going to be the peak cognitive window for most people, right? So your cortisol is tapering down, dopamine is regulated, your acetylcholine for concentration and just focus is high. It's perfect for learning, focus, productivity, right? But if you break that flow with a phone check or multiple phone checks, you trigger this thing called attention residue. It takes an average of 23 minutes to return back into a flow state after switching tasks. The University of California, Irvine found that interruptions from notifications can cut your productivity down by 40%. So the best practice is put your phone away. Keep it away from your visual field, especially in the morning and especially in a work block. And the third worst time to check your phone is during meals, especially lunch. I want to talk to you about something that has been a game changer for me. That is Bond Charge. And if you're like me and always looking for ways to optimize your health naturally, you're going to love this. They've got this huge range of products backed by solid science. And I've got to tell you about my favorite one, that is the red light face mask. It is super lightweight and does not get hot. It's really comfortable and easy to wear. And the best part is it uses both near infrared and red light to boost collagen and elastin production. That is a secret to healthier skin. Now I've tried red light devices for a long time. Bond Charge really stands out because they've actually removed that sleep disturbing green and blue light that a lot of red light products have out there. Plus they have zero EMFs, zero flicker, and it comes with a 1-year warranty. Head over to bondcharge.com and use the coupon code DRG to save 15% off of your order. That is BONCHARGE.com. And don't forget to use that code DRG for 15% off. When you eat with your phone, you're not only distracted, but you're affecting your digestion. There's dysregulation of your system. And this is bad because you're decreasing interoception. You won't even notice when you're full. You're going to keep eating. You're also going to have reduced digestive enzyme secretion. You're going to lower your serotonin production post-meal. And a 2019 study showed phone use during meals increases your caloric intake and reduces your satisfaction. Can you believe that? Because you're not present with your food. Of course you can, right? So multitasking during meals also reduces gut motility and actually impairs the absorption of nutrients. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, you might feel bloated and burping if you weren't present with your food, but disrupting absorption of nutrients is huge, and it's because of the enzymes. So the best practice, keep your phone away from meals. Even if it's one meal a day, watch how you digest better, especially if you eat mindfully. There's nothing around you, no distractions. You have better blood sugar regulation, so you're going to feel more balanced throughout the day. Now, the 3 best times when to use your phone. Good news is the phone isn't fully your enemy, and you can use them based on your chronobiology. And know that there are windows in the day where your brain is actually more flexible and less vulnerable. So let's get to the best 3 times during the day to use your phone. Late morning, right? About 10:30, 11, that late morning reset. If you've been working since early, let's say you started at 9 o'clock, right? This is a great time to take a brief dopamine break. And it works because your cortisol levels already been normalized and your brain has already used some focus bandwidth if you had some work before it. So when you take a short conscious reset, it can actually improve resilience and mood. So you get a quick hit, right? You know you got to check your text messages and maybe you check Instagram or TikTok or whatever you need to do. And then you get a quick message check, right? An uplifting content check, a 5-minute break for scrolling, whatever. But keep it really intentional. Don't go too long. Don't fall into the dopamine loop. But you're going to notice that actually you might be focused in the afternoon a little bit more. Another time, the mid-afternoon slump. A lot of you feel this, especially right after eating, about an hour and a half, 2 hours after eating, 2:30 to 4:30. This is a natural circadian dip, especially for all the bears circadian-wise out there, which is most of the population. You get a dip in the afternoon. And I myself am a bear. So the biological lull, really, and all that alertness and productivity, you might be less focused. So when you're using your phone, it's not going to interrupt deep cognitive work. The dopamine reward seeking is going to rise. So if you use a little bit the phone, light phone, right, you can actually feel satisfied without having overstimulation because you already hit that low. So you want to find this time to catch up on texts that you need to read or light admin tasks maybe. Maybe you do just a mindful social media scroll just for a few minutes. Maybe you do a post-lunch walk and you listen to a podcast. The next time is early evening, the wind down, 5 to 6:30. This is when your body's actually transitioning into the parasympathetic mode, gearing down for rest, relaxation. It works because your mind is seeking social connection. It wants light interaction. So phone use here won't really suppress your melatonin just yet because the sun hasn't gone down. Maybe in the winter it does, so do it before the sun goes down. But you want to avoid bright light and screens later, you know that. And this is a great time to, reach out to a loved one, connect. You're in the parasympathetic regulated grounded state already. This is a great time to look at positive content, This is a great time to, get inspired, reflect, journal, plan for tomorrow. So, look, we use our phone. We're always going to be on our phone. I did this show because I wanted to create more intentionality, right? So the goal isn't to throw the phone in the lake. Don't be too dramatic about it, but it's to understand that your nervous system has rhythms, and how can we ride these waves of rhythm and use our phone at the appropriate time. So remember the cheat sheet. Remember worst times, first hour after waking, right? 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., that deep work window. You want to avoid using the phone, and during meals especially. And this is during the day. It already goes to say about 2 hours before bed, 3 hours before bed, no blue light already. And if the sun goes down, use blue blockers. I'm not talking about night. This is during the day. And the best time is to use your phone, 10:30 to 11, take a short break, 2:30 to 4, you have that natural dip in energy, and 5 to 6:30, right? And if you want to create these windows, there's different apps that you can use that actually lock you out. And then you can go into those windows and open them back up in those windows, and you're going to take your break. It's better to be intentional versus be a slave to your phone. So if you start using this rhythm, even 50% of the time, you're going to notice fewer energy crashes, less mental fog, better digestion, improved emotional regulation, more peaceful, more present relationship with your phone and your loved ones. It's not a detox. It's just about riding that wave. So if you ever tracked how the phone makes you feel, or you haven't, do it and see how it makes you feel when you're using it unintentionally. And then when you do it in these waves, following your rhythm, just notice what improves for you. I think a lot will. I really do. So I wanted to do this, and if it hit home, and anyone who's feeling burnt out or distracted or overstimulated, send it. Subscribe, rate, review. Again, send it to anyone you love, and thank you for joining the Knowledge Bomb segment.